Hi there, this is Tim with an Elite Dangerous video, and this is my first look at beta 3.9. Now this is a clean wipe for everybody. Everybody's stats were completely reset, and here I am launching the software for the first time, and as you can see this is new. This is a hardware detection which automatically set me to high graphics, and this is the new main menu. Obviously it's graphical now. The tutorials remain pretty much the same, although obviously the difficulty has been adjusted according to the changes with the AI, and the NPCs obviously fight a little bit better. All of the descriptions seem to be the same. In the start section here you have open play, private group and solo, so I'm not yet seeing the Iron Man option for open play that I was kind of expecting to see with this build. Friends and private groups seems unchanged, just a graphical background now. Just going to accept people, which I've not yet done. So there we go. And report a player seems pretty much the same. I've never used this. I don't see that anybody could really do anything bad enough for me to report them online. The options screen, same kind of things. Obviously the nice thing is that there's a few more descriptions, or at least it's easier for me to notice them on the right hand side for some of these, but not as many, like not where I would really want them to be in this graphics menu. Like I don't think a lot of people understand a lot of graphics settings, and I wish there was more help in that section, the same way as there is here in the controller section. Now if you've been playing Elite Dangerous in the past, for beta 3.9 they've made a change where the frame shift drive, super cruise and hyperspace drive buttons has been changed. They've reintroduced a system where you can actually have independent buttons for super cruise and hyperspace. So I think a lot of people are kind of going into the game and thinking that they can't jump anywhere. Yes, you can. You need to rebind keys, and actually the one that you need to bind to get it to work like it did in beta 3.5 is actually the enable frame shift drive button. That's actually gives you the same functionality that you had with the previous build. Now they've actually made a lot of changes with this software. If you go through the build notes for the 3.9 release, there's just so much that they've done, and you know, it's really quite impressive. The list of just crash fixes, bug fixes, graphical fixes, and upgrades that they've done are just absolutely massive. And something that I think a lot of people will be really pleased about is that there's actually quite a lot of optimizations listed as well. So that's actually really quite nice too. And on my system at least, which is perfectly capable of playing this game, the games just seems to run absolutely fantastic. It's I've never had a problem, but I think that now I'm actually settling at you know, like a really nice frame rate, whereas before I think it was going up and down a little bit according to what I was actually doing. Now as far as features in this new build, one of the main things for me is that they've added the faction missions for the federal and imperial forces. They're now in. There's actually mission branching, which I think what that means is that you can get a series of missions that kind of lead into each other as kind of like a story. I've not actually seen a mission that does that yet, but apparently the code is actually in there. Just looking around at the ship here, and one of the first things you'll notice is that there's a few changes with the UI. You can now see what type of station it is in the navigation tab here, and if a system is out of range, it now shows as red, so obviously that's quite a decent change there. Transaction tab seems unchanged, contact tab seems unchanged. Let's go and have a look in the galaxy map. And one of the first things you'll see is that there's a new menu that says select destination, system view, syncing with cartographics, and to purchase trade data. Now you actually get trade data for the system you are in for free once you've visited the station services screen. The playable area, as you can see there, hasn't changed. It's the same size. But if you click on a different system, you can buy trade data, and I think that's pretty interesting. Let's look in the system view, and they've actually adjusted the size of the planets here, which makes a lot of sense. You know, they were a bit overwhelming previously, and you can now see what type of platform things actually are, and you can see the allegiance here, controlling faction as well. And trade data will not be listed for another system unless you've bought it, which is quite interesting. Now, something which is obviously interesting is that they did say in the build notes that they've put in information for Earth and Mars, but unfortunately apparently you still can't get to Sol. You can't actually get to Earth and Mars. So it's interesting that they've mentioned it. I wonder if after the kind of special day tomorrow they're actually going to let us get to Sol. That would be quite interesting. I quite like actually that you can buy the trade data in the system view here, because if I show you kind of, if you've seen in a previous video where I showed you how trade data looked, you'll notice that the map really isn't lighting up here. So obviously the trade data doesn't really exist. But you could, what you can actually see is the star colours actually show which type of political climate that area has, and really there's as far as I can see, there's nothing in the playable area that's actually an empire system, which would be red. They all seem to be independent or federation. I actually can't even see any alliance systems which would be orange either. Oh, there might be some right up towards the top of the pill shape there, but it's pretty hard to see that there actually would be any. Now back to the trade routes. You can see switching it on and off doesn't make any difference. There are no trade routes there, so trading now just won't be as easy as it was, which for me is absolutely perfect. But as you can see, I've just bought trade data and I have it for 24 hours. So basically I can now see what comes in and out of the system that I've bought that data for. And obviously then I can turn on and off specific things the same as before. Going into the station menu now. Just kind of going to go through each item, point out any differences as I find them. Obviously these still kind of news, and if Frontier have to kind of release new things, they can obviously make a story about it. I actually noticed there was a story up there for the FSD interdictors and the ECM modules, so you know they can kind of make a story out of pretty much anything they do. Card graphics menu looks unchanged. Outfitting has been adjusted. Now the internals and the hardpoints have their own tabs. You can see the hardpoints, and obviously the utility mounts are classed as hardpoints on a tab there. And then you have to switch tab to internals, and then you can obviously adjust things like the drive and everything else. And then the liveries pretty much work the same as they did. Decals we don't actually have access to any yet, but as an alpha backer I assume I'll get one at some point that I can attach to my ship. And there you go, that's the only paint job that I've actually purchased, is an urban camo for my Sidewinder, and I've just applied that there. And going into contacts, this all looks pretty much unchanged to me. And into the bulletin board, this looks quite interesting. There's you're now given reasons why you can't get a mission. So the unobtainable missions that are down at the bottom, they'll now openly say that that they don't trust you enough, and things like that, and that's the reason why you can't get that mission. So it's not just related now to you not having enough cargo space or something like that. You know, now it's down to your actual reputation. Not many changes that I can see in the middle there. And all of that UI looks about the same. Sub-targets apparently do now work, so if you have a ship targeted, you can select a specific thing, such as their cargo hatch, and if you attack it with your weapons and focus on that cargo hatch, cargo should fall out. But this right tab, this is awesome here. You can see I'm on the status tab, and within that you have obviously reputation, finances, stats, and you can obviously scroll down here and see all of your stats, which is really nice. I really like how they've done this and what they're actually monitoring. Very, very happy with all this. Permits and back to reputations there, and you can see there's obviously the kind of global reputations, and on the left side you can see there's a combat rank, a trade rank, and an exploration rank, and I like that they've done that. I was a little bit disturbed when I read the last newsletter, because it sounded like they were merging all types of gameplay into a single rating, and I really didn't want that, because like my way of playing is probably going to be combat, and I didn't like the fact that someone can get elite to where I'm going to treat them differently. If you point your nose at me and you have a high rating, I'm going to assume you're going to you're going to fire at me because you've got a high rating, and I am going to assume I'm going to have to act a certain way and things based on your ratings, and it was a little bit concerning that that they'd made that change. But as it turns out, there's 3 separate rankings, and I'm absolutely happy about that. So that's good. Anyway, back to the actual release notes for the 3.9 build. Like I said, lots of crash fixes, bug fixes, graphics fixes, and upgrades. Lots of optimization, to the point where even with a fast, good system, I could see it. They've added the faction missions for the Federals and Imperials. They've done mission branching, which, like I said, should be a kind of series of missions that all tie into each other. You now can't take missions that are less than 10 minutes time left to complete them, or that you don't have the standings for. And if you fail a mission, when it fails, cargo is now unlinked, so you would be able to obviously sell the cargo. You basically wouldn't have to dump it, which is what you had to do previously. Permits have been added, so there's certain systems now where you need a permit to enter, and permits can actually be rewards for missions. And something else that they've added is obviously a new animation for hyperspace, which you'll see in a moment, and I really like it. I think it looks quite nice, and just take a look and you'll see it. But while that's going on, they've also added fixed event scenarios. So basically, there's going to be scenarios that are kind of always going on. There's going to be scenarios that are temporary. There's going to be scenarios that are part of a wider picture. And now, while I'm in Super Cruise here, they've also changed the Super Cruise exit, which I really like. When I approach this this station here, when I come out of Super Cruise, you should really like the exit, because now kind of it has like a zoom effect with the station, like it's being folded out of kind of flattened space, and I think it's really good. So just pay attention for that. Now, as far as systems and what they've done there, they've made unidentified signal areas spawn based on the system state. So if there's you know, kind of a war situation there, there'll be areas where there's obviously fighting going on. If it's an anarchy system, there might be a pirate kind of interaction area. And they've also made them more varied and a little less frequent. They've added the ability to spawn debris in unidentified signals, and made pirates more likely to spawn in them. So, I mean, this is great. It's actually going to be kind of involving now. You know, it's not going to be kind of the kind of because the unidentified signal areas kind of almost seemed like grinding, you know, and now kind of the variation should be there a lot more. They've raised the limits on NPCs in systems, so all systems should appear more alive. Like I said earlier, they've added Earth and Mars to Sol, but you can't visit them yet. They've obviously adjusted how stations look and the animation looks when you come out of Super Cruise. They've added more pirates in anarchy systems or low security systems. With interdictions, what they've done is they've changed position of entry, so you won't be ramming whoever interdicted you, or you interdicted up the backside every time you come out of interdiction, and instead basically whoever did the interdicting will be behind, and that's not how it was previously. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. NPCs should only scan you once per Super Cruise if they are police or anything like that. So the days when you were getting stopped 5 times by police, even though you've already been scanned 4 times and been found to have nothing, should be over. And there's a less chance of authorities stopping you if you have a good reputation. They've obviously added the ranking and faction icons that I showed you in the right menu. They've added voice communications. They've obviously changed the hyperspace and Super Cruise to be different keys, which is great for me, because what that was for is that sometimes you would have a star selected, there would be a planet in the way, and you couldn't go into hyperspace because the planet was in the way. So you had to deselect the star to go into supercruise, and then reselect the star and then go into hyperspace. And now you don't have to do that anymore. So I'm here at another station now, and just going to go through the menus again, see if anything is different. Don't think I found anything that was, so I'll just keep talking. They've oh, now this is a big one because I think that a lot of people can really get some benefit from this. If you've seen my previous videos talking about TrackIR and showing how important it is, then you will completely understand this. Free track and face track no IR have now been supported in the protocols of Elite Dangerous. So really there's no excuse now. You know, if you can't afford a TrackIR like I have, get a webcam, try the face tracking or anything like that, and you'll see the benefits. You really will. On the shipyard here, you can see they now have the maneuverability listed there, and they've obviously added colours here, so you can see the difference between the ship you have and the ship which is listed. So that's quite nice. And in the back to the build notes, they've mentioned drones a lot. So I'm really hoping that there's going to be a camera drone, so that I can actually take some pictures of my ship soon. So we'll see. They've updated the Oculus Rift SDK, so they should actually properly support it now. I haven't tried it yet. Players can die while saving. That's huge, because if you've watched previous videos of mine, there would be a lot of times when I was on the verge of killing someone and they would save their game, they would disconnect, whatever. And now, perhaps when they re-log in or reopen the game, they will be presented with an insurance screen because they died. That's my hope, fingers crossed. And apparently there will be more auto saves, which should really help people that have poor internet connections. Now that offline mode is gone, if you're playing in solo, there should now be more auto saves. So this kind of helps the kind of single player crowd quite a bit. They've added rare goods. Not really sure what that means, but I assume it might help piracy, which helps people like me as a bounty hunter. When you have logged into any system like this one here, you can actually see the market details. You can actually go there and when you're in the market, you can see where they actually get things from. Like I've found that this system that I'm in imports fish from Word, or WYRD, however it's pronounced. So that is really interesting. As a trader, that is really interesting, and kind of huge, really. You are obviously charged for non-local data, like I showed you earlier. You can now discard cargo in stations, so rather than having to undock and basically dump it into space outside, you can now discard your cargo on the right menu on the cargo tab, and never see it again, which is great. Let's see, and you can drop canisters in space now. So this kind of is a way of providing other players with money. You know, you could go to a station, buy gold or whatever, meet a friend in deep space, and obviously eject that cargo, mark it as not stolen, and you basically abandon that gold. Your friend picks it up, sells it on the commodities market, and then basically you've given him money. The way that Frontier are kind of marketing it, really, is that it's a kind of deep space bartering, where you would decide a kind of trade and both of you drop cargo for each other, but I'm not really sure how that's going to work. In my opinion, it's just a way to give each other money without saying that. The AI, and you know how much I love combat and everything, and I really like how they've improved the NPCs, and just how fighty they are. And they've done it again. They've made them absolutely fantastic. I think they've improved them even more. Now, how have they improved them? Well, the AI now manage their energy the same way that a human player can manage systems, engines, and weapons. NPCs can do the same. So if you're not facing towards them where you can't fire at them, they might put all of their energy to weapons so that they can fire at you without worrying about their shields the same way that we do. So that's quite nice. That's a really extra level of kind of intricate detail with these NPCs. They've also been given new loadouts for just about all the combat-ready ships, and there's also more appropriate ships being used for certain things. Like they now it's apparently going to be very, very rare now for a hauler to be used by an NPC for mining, because as they said in the release notes, it's not a good mining ship. So there we go. Hard points are now deployed properly by NPCs as well, which is really nice. And the NPCs, this is huge, have better firing logic and better best weapon logic. So if they're in a situation where they need to use missiles, they'll use missiles. If they're in a situation where they need to use lasers, they'll use lasers. And they're not just going to keep shooting you with a weapon that isn't suitable, that isn't knocking down your shields. They'll switch weapons, and they'll actually work it out. NPCs are now suspicious of players, even more depending on your reputation with their faction. That's huge as well, because quite often in an asteroid belt, I'll be flying along, I'll see another ship, and I will turn towards it, I'll target them, wait for my scan to say wanted. Well, now, when I turn towards them, that might be a threatening behavior. So they might already be ready, might already be changing their power towards weapons, and they might be deploying their hard points before I've even fired at them now, which it's adding a very human element to the NPCs, which I really, really like. And now hostile acts unlock wanted status. So in the past there's been a few times where someone has fired at me and I'm still waiting for them to scan to see if they have a wanted status, and if I fired at them before it says wanted, then I get in trouble. Well, no longer. Apparently as soon as they fire at you, if they have a wanted status, it'll immediately show, which is quite nice. And like I said, now individual modules in a ship are targetable, so you can actually disable a ship's weapons, open their cargo hatch, by obviously firing at it, and that's huge as well. That actually opens up a lot of gameplay types and helps out with combat especially. So those are, in my opinion, the highlights of that build. Obviously, if you play a different kind of Elite Dangerous to me, where you're a trader or something, I hope I've kind of covered what might be important to you as well. Thanks, bye.